Hello everyone, my name is Wilson with the Wilson Tao Show. I have my awesome cousin, Melinda Lee, with me. And today's topic, we're gonna talk about some lifting goals, some bodybuilding, some powerlifting, all stuff fitness, all right? So she is pretty much a guru here. So Melinda, tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got into the whole lifting thing. What made you start wanting to lift?
I really got into lifting. It's gonna sound like so basic, but so I was like, I was probably like a sophomore or no, maybe like a junior.
In high school?
Yeah, in high school. In junior.
Wow, I didn't know you started that early.
Yeah, I should start. Well, this is when I started.
Okay.
It sounds like so goofy, but literally like that was like my first heartbreak, and so then I was like.
Damn.
You know the whole like
the heartbreak.
Yeah, the whole like, oh, I'm gonna bounce back by hitting in the gym and stuff. So that's literally what happened. And then but I mean, I was never consistent. It was a whole like go to the gym, get on the treadmill, leave. So like I did that maybe for only a couple months, and then it didn't start until after actually my senior year.
Oh wow.
Yeah, well, it was like the last semester of my senior year of high school.
So you never really hit the weights hard then?
No, never did. That was just like cardio bunny phase.
Oh.
Yeah, where like you didn't know what to do.
Right.
So you just went to the treadmills. And so I actually, I started lifting, I guess you could say seriously, my second semester of my senior year of high school. And then it was probably 2 years of me lifting where like, you get the newbie gains, right?
Yeah.
So that was when I really like shot off.
Like you saw your arms getting a little bigger.
Yes, my arms was getting, my lower body was filling out. I was literally went from 100 pounds, well no, I was like 95 pounds.
95?
Yeah, when I first started working out.
And how old were you for context?
17.
You were 17 and you were 95 pounds.
Yeah, and so then
I was probably 95 pounds when I was like 11 years old.
I know, literally, it's so crazy though, because like I was literally like bones, and then and also a big part was like I never felt really confident.
Okay.
I mean, I felt pretty, but like I was never like the confidence I have now. Like does not.
Different.
Yeah, it's so different. I feel like women deal with that a lot too. It's always like, oh, like you need to look like this and that. So like I struggled with like. Literally, it was basically just wearing whatever I was wearing to school, and then outside of that, and then whenever summer comes around the corner, it's like, oh, bikini season. But then like I never felt like I filled in my clothes. Okay. So I just felt very tiny. And then like obviously after a heartbreak, you're like, oh, like maybe you need to look better, so they would, just stuff, basic stuff. And so that's really what got me into lifting. And then I was like, you know what, I really want to like fill out my lower body too. So then I went on Instagram. Look up all these girls that work out. That's how I like kind of learned everything. That's where you really caught the bug, right?
Yes. Because I think a cool thing about social media, obviously sometimes it can be bad, sometimes it can be good. But in this instance, you used it to fuel your drive and inform yourself also, right? Yeah. Because one thing I used to do with social media is I look at social media to see what the potential was, right? And especially in the fitness world, when you look at, oh damn, this girl can do this, and she's my weight, my height, and she could do this, so I mean, so continue. I mean, you caught the bug in high school. Afterwards, and then after
that, I moved to like a different environment gym, so which was Southside, and then that's whenever I met more of like the people that actually lift heavy. Train hard, friends also that started lifting heavy. I met there.
And that was difficult, right? Because I feel like, I mean, the lifting community is pretty cool, honestly. And those of you who are nervous about going to the gym and you feel like you don't know what to do, I bet you can ask anybody in the gym. And they will help you out, and most gyms nowadays, they have like a personal trainer on staff. They do. Or the front register lady, she probably knows exactly what she's doing too. So if you don't know, heck, if anything, go ask her, But, it's the new year. If you guys are going to the gym, don't be afraid to ask people to spot you. Yes. Because imagine this, right? Somebody else is lifting and they need a spot and they come ask you, you wouldn't feel weirded out. You would gladly go help them, right? Yes, exactly. Same thing, right? Same thing. And so like if you need help getting a spot real quick, I mean, it takes like 30 seconds.
And honestly, people love it. Like I love it when people ask me for a spot.
Yes, I'm hyping them up.
I'm like,
let's go. or girl, you know, you need to go drop this weight, you know.
Me too. I get so excited, and then that's like another like friendship, and you're just like, and you can feed off of each other, bounce off of each other, like, and not even that you have to become friends after that. Like when you're in the gym community, you're instantly happy for others.
Yes.
Like it's instant. Like, wow, I'm so happy for you, 100%. Whether you get it or not. Like it's for whatever it is. Like the gym community really is really good.
They're really helpful.
Yeah, unless it's like competitive people who obviously like are just in there to be by themselves.
They're locked in.
They're locked in and don't talk to nobody. Then yeah, but some people are just like that. But then like some people, I mean, most people are always.
I would say at your regular Planet Fitness, you wouldn't find those people who are mad or locked in. or if they are locked in, you can kind of see like they headphones on, blaring. They're not bugging anybody.
Not really making eye contact, stuff like that. But they're 1000%, like 99% of the time, you're gonna see people around the gym that are like there and like they would not mind at all to help you. Like
so what I said earlier was you know, Melinda is a power lifter. She started in 2018, right?
No, so that.
No, I'm talking about like lifting journey.
Yes,
your lifting journey. You started in 2018, and then she really got into it. She got locked in enough to where she wanted to pursue powerlifting. And tell us about your first meet. Like, how did you prep for it? What was the time frame that you were working in until prep day? And tell us more about it.
Yeah, so I first competed in March of last year. Okay. So it was coming up on a year.
22?
Yeah, 22.
Okay.
So it was like so amazing. Like it was so cool. I always like am like, if you ever have wanted to compete in whatever it is, like go do it. Like it's such a scary thing though, especially for your first time. Like my first time I was so scared because like my mindset at first was, okay, I'm not even that good, or I'm not even that strong, because all I did was compare myself to world record holders, or like the best in the world,
like genetically gifted, and
and just like crazy outrageous things. And I'm like, when you just got into powerlifting maybe not even a year ago,
I know.
So I'm like, you're just getting started, and it's not even about the end goal, it's about the journey too. So I didn't have a bad mindset, but I definitely had like a very fearful mindset. Like I was so afraid of not being like the best. And so it was kind of scary. It was a really big jump for me because I kept thinking like, oh, I want to compete for so long. And then people kept asking me if I competed, and I was like, no, I don't. But then that made me realize like, I want to like just do it.
Like, why don't you, right?
Yeah. Like,
so like you talking about like gym buddies? Yeah. Gym buddies were like, yo, why aren't you competing?
Yeah, or even random people that were watching me lift, and they were like, wow, do you compete? They just come up to me and I'm like, no, I don't. And I'm like, wow, maybe I can compete.
There you go.
And so my boyfriend now, we weren't dating at the time yet, but he actually got me into powerlifting. So he helped me. He was my coach throughout my whole powerlifting prep. So I prepped for 8 weeks. A typical prep is like 8 to 12 weeks. 12 weeks is like on a little on the longer side, but so I kind of from 14 weeks until 8 weeks, and during that time period, I just took the time to lift like regular, and then when it came to I deloaded right before, which is just lifting lighter and stuff, taking it easy, but right before that 8 weeks hit. Okay. So that way I could get my body ready.
Yeah, almost like you're staying active but recovering.
Yeah, just that last week before you hit that prep mark, which is the 8 week mark until the competitions. Okay. At that point I was like 133 pounds, and I was like, you know, I felt because I really didn't have any plans to really compete, and I didn't want to compete 132 because I felt like I could do better at 123, like number wise, so and ratio wise. So that's why I was like, okay, well, I think it'd be great if I competed at 123. So I decided to really bring my body composition down, and obviously you have to weigh in. If you weigh in over the class that you're in, then you have to go to the next class, which will put you at a disadvantage if you're weighing lower than the other people. So I was like, okay, well, if I'm gonna stick to this, I'm just gonna stick to it. So actually, for 14 weeks, I actually cut down. Meet day, I was 121 pounds.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I weighed in at 121.
And so weigh-ins is different too. Like when you're competing, whether it be combat sports, wrestling, or in this industry. You have to make weight, and to the general public, right? Whenever the idea behind that of making weight is, when you are a heavier weight, you naturally carry more weight, so you walk around and your muscles, for example, your legs, your legs carry you around all day, right?
Yeah.
And if you're weighing 135, you're gonna naturally be able to lift more than somebody who's 120 because you're carrying, you know.
I mean,
so that's why it's so important to make weight.
I feel like a lot of people think that like you're constantly like lifting heavy, like, well, not like lifting heavy, but like lifting to the point where you're like using all of your energy, like right, your perceived exertion is literally at like 10, like, you know, for every lift. But really, it's not like that. So when you work at lower percentages,
are you talking about training?
Yeah, training.
Training?
Yeah, when you're doing your heavy lifts like squat, bench, or deadlift, it's real. So when you're working for certain percentages of like a weight, it could be like I'm working like 75% of my max, but I'm only doing like 4 or 5 reps. So we have something that we call like an RPE, which is your rate of perceived exertion. So that's basically on a scale of 1 to 10 how hard you push for that set.
Yeah.
So like typically you only work around maybe like 7 RPE, 6 or 7 for like those first week or so, and then it kind of just ups the way. So like the 3 weeks before I compete, that's when I'm like going super heavy, like RPE 10. Yeah, like that's when you don't max out, but you do definitely get up to where you're like lifting heavy singles, which are like 1 reps, or heavy doubles, 2 reps, heavy triples and stuff like that. And you're really focusing on like competition style like lifts. So like there's like certain,
like form.
Yeah, form, or like there are certain calls that they do whenever you're lifting, so you can't put the weight down unless they tell you to put the weight down, or like in bench you have to pause, so you just gotta practice those during prep.
Right.
And so you really gotta lock down on that the whole prep too. And so
I want to talk a little bit more about the percentage. You were talking about 75% for like 4 to 5, 34 reps maybe. So here's a general example. Let's say if you're bench press max, because you're talking based off of 75% of your max, right?
Yes, your max.
So for example, let's say if you bench press 100 pounds, you would do 75% of that, so 75 pounds, and you'll rep that for 3 to 4 reps. Obviously, if you can do 4, awesome. If you can't, ideally, whenever you're lifting, you want to be struggling on the 3rd rep. And if, although you struggled like hell for the 3rd rep, try for the 4th one, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the process that you want to follow. Especially if you're gonna go into powerlifting, or if you just want to get stronger in general. There is a terminology, I hope I can remember exactly. I think it's called the overload principle, where
progressive overload.
Where if you are wanting to be able to get stronger, let's say you're bench pressing 100 pounds, you want to be able to bench press 125 by the summer, you have to progressively overload your muscles. It just makes sense. You can't just expect to lift 100, bench press 100 pound all the time and be able to hit 125 pounds, you know? You will eventually, but how quickly can you get there, right? I think a part of you, as your character and your own nature, you have to be competitive, right? Some people aren't competitive by nature. I'm highly competitive by nature, you know? Like growing up, me and my siblings, you know, we would always like, oh, I bet you I can eat more, or I can eat faster, or I could run faster, you know. So growing up, me and my siblings, we were always very competitive. Like, do you feel like you are naturally competitive, or you kind of built that competitiveness?
Yeah, I'm definitely not. I don't think I'm naturally competitive at all.
Oh, yeah?
I know I'm not actually, because I've never really found like competition in really anything. I'm just kind of like so relaxed. I'm just like, okay, it's whatever. Like honestly, like if you can eat more than me, like cool. Or if you can literally beat me to the fence, like that's cool. Like I've never been a competitive person. That's just me though. But like having to flip that mindset.
So you had to develop it then?
Yeah, I literally had to develop it. Like kind of getting into a prep, but really the only person I was thinking of being competitive with was myself. I mean, I did think about like other people too, because I was like, oh my gosh, like I wonder who's in my weight class. Like not that I had such a weak mindset though. Like a year ago I was so different, I feel like. So like it was more of like leading up to it, I was like, oh, like I wonder who's competing, but I was like, okay, I'm not gonna look, because I feel like if I look, then I'm gonna stalk their page, I'm gonna stalk their list, and then I'm gonna be like, oh, they're stronger than me, oh, I'm not gonna want to compete anymore.
I think that's smart that you didn't do that.
So I did not want to see any of my
competitors. Go and do your own stuff.
Yes.
You know? Do what you know.
That's why I was like, okay, I'm not even gonna look to see, because you can look to see who entered the meet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I was like, okay, I'm not even gonna look.
Oh, yeah, it might be like some super fitness model or something.
And I'm like, okay, she's definitely gonna beat me. I'm not gonna want to compete. I'm just gonna shoot myself down. So, this was my first meet. I wanted it to be something that's like, I was happy about and like I wasn't so afraid of. So I mean, it definitely wasn't easy, but I did have to like flip it in my mind where like, okay, I'm gonna like be competitive with yourself, as in like do better than what you did last week, do better than what you did a year ago, do better than what you did this, like just everything. So I just had to learn to become competitive with really myself, which sounds a little, I don't know if that sounds weird or not, but like,
no, I agree 100%. I have to say, you know, as I've been in sports medicine for you know, quite some time, and just being around athletes, you definitely see the physical side, the skills, the abilities, the genetic side of things, you know, how some are just genetically bigger, stronger, but also one side that most people don't consider is the mental side of sports. Talk about how, was it mentally draining? Like, were you super stressed the night before about the competition, or how did you overcome any sort of feeling like, oh man, I don't know, I bit too much. This is more than I could swallow, or whatever. Was there a mental battle at some point?
There was definitely. I was very excited like the night before. I mean, it's just like anything though, right? When your first time doing something, your first time going somewhere, you're like super nervous, like you can't sleep. So like really, I didn't sleep.
A lot of anxiety.
I had so much anxiety just about like, how is it gonna go? Am I gonna get my first attempt? Am I gonna get this? Am I gonna get that? Like, it was just a bunch of overthinking. And at that point, I should have took some melatonin, but I also didn't want to take that because I was like, okay, what if it stays in my system? Like, I was gonna want to be tired. I was like, when I tell you I was overthinking everything, I was overthinking everything.
So how did you get over it, or you just went to sleep?
So I just fell asleep eventually, but really, it's all about like who you have there, like with you. So like my coach, now my boyfriend, obviously, he literally was like there for me just like that, and like
calming you down,
and then like also like giving me the confidence that I needed, like you're gonna do great, or like you're really strong, or like you're gonna get this, just believe in yourself. Like you have to believe in yourself, like just like all those like cues that you need before you do anything, that's like obviously outside of what you always do. So, and then like, you know, even leading up to it, like it was just the mental, like, okay, like just make sure you rest this week, get your meals in, just like stuff like that, and just being like, okay, you're gonna do great, like I'm so happy for you, I'm so excited for you, getting me excited for it, and like, oh, it's gonna be so fun. And so that helped me a lot. Like who you surround yourself plays a big role in how you mentally feel about yourself. Literally. And it's so crazy because like I never realized until afterwards, because you know, I was so afraid of getting out there and then feeling like I wasn't going to do my best, but he was always there to tell me like, stop comparing yourself to all of these crazy athletes that are literally at the top.
They've been doing it for a long time.
That's what he told me all the time. He was like, you have to stop comparing yourself to these athletes that have been doing this for what, 10 plus years? Like of course they're going to be up there because they've been doing this for so long, and like, and I was always so afraid, like, okay, I'm not this person, I'm not this. Like, it was just a big mental battle all the time. Like, I was just, like, constantly comparing.
So pretty much overall, you know, the biggest thing that helped you was a mentor. Like,
literally, being
able to tell you, you know, relax a little bit, you know, to calm yourself down, and you look at the bigger picture, you know. So, so in her aspect, you know, it's good to have a mentor.
Yes, 1000%.
It's much tougher. I mean, hey, you know, props to the people who can do it on their own and be disciplined enough to like, no, I'm that guy, I'm that girl, I can do it, you know. So that's a whole nother mental battle too. I know for myself, whenever I would compete or used to compete in 5Ks, that was difficult for me. Like, you know, like you said, the night before you get real anxious. Like almost comparative to, like, let's say you're going to like a big trip, like a Disney World or something. You're so excited you can't sleep the night before. But in this way, I was so nervous that I wouldn't be able to perform. But the funny thing is, I meant competing in like it's a regular 5K. It could be like a 5K turkey trot. You don't have to run. But like for me, I'm like, man, I'm trying to beat, because like they actually, you know, every 5K I've ran in, they would have like a consolation prize, right? They'll hand out like t-shirts or like little gifts or mugs or whatever, right? And I was like, you know, and the way that 5Ks were broken out was, you know, they'll give it to like certain age groups. So they didn't do by weight class. They were just like, all right, 20 to 23-year-old, and then 24 to 27, whatever the age group was. I wanted to be at the top of the age group, right? And so I would always get so anxious. And one thing that you know, after racing so many times, you know, experience. I would assume by the next one you're going to be much more prepared.
Yeah.
But you know, after running so many different 5Ks, I was able to find comfort in that I knew my abilities.
Yeah.
I know what I can do. You know, I wouldn't compare myself to others.
Yeah.
You know, I never looked up any runners because there'll be like 300 runners. You know, but it definitely is comforting to know that, you know, I'm here to compete against myself.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do what I can do that I know is best, and I'm gonna try to do my best, and then kind of just go from there too. You know, so that's a whole nother side of it. Just remember, you know, to all the viewers and listeners, the physical abilities might be there, but it's also important to consider the mental side of things.
Yes.
And ideally, pro athletes that have a good control of the mental and the physical are really at the top of the top.
Oh yeah.
You know? So if you ever look at the GOATs of any sports, you'll see that they have a really good control of their mental and their physical. So
mental plays such a big role, and I never realized that until I did something like this.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, you really gotta believe in yourself.
Yeah, you're psyching yourself out, and then, you know, you're doubting yourself too. But I mean, aside from that, are you comfortable sharing your PRs that you hit during meet day? And what was everybody else hitting? And obviously, and what did you place?
Yeah, so I placed first in my class, but my
look, she's saying it like it ain't no big deal. Yeah, I got first. Girl, you got first.
It was such a small like meet. That's why I'm like, it's whatever. But so my squats didn't go as well. I wasn't hitting depth, so I didn't hit depth my first attempt.
Okay. Yeah.
I was literally like this much, and then my second attempt I got it. So my first attempt was 220.
Yeah.
It was really easy, but I didn't hit depth. I got one. So there's like what we call either white light. Okay, we either call them lights or flags. At this meet, they use flags. But then usually a lot of meets still use like lights on the screen or something. So you have to get 3 white lights or 2 white lights for it to count. So I got 2 red lights and then 1 only. So the front judge was like, okay, but I guess he couldn't see from the side. So then like the 2 side judges were like,
yeah.
So then my second one, basically my coach was like, okay.
So did you drop down in weight now?
No. So we went up in weight because 220 actually moved easy. I knew that I could get, and when I was in prep, I think the most I ever squatted in prep was 240. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it was 240.
Damn.
So then I was like, okay, like I know I have 226. So like it goes in kilos, so like it can't be like 225. So it was like 226. So I was like, okay, like we'll go up because I'm not gonna waste my second attempt.
Right.
So and you can go up. They don't have a rule for that. So I was like, I just got to get a little bit deeper. So I was like, okay. So when I was literally at the platform, I was like, okay, I just got to get a little bit deeper. Come on. So I got that one. I got 3 white lights, and then for my
how many lifts do you do?
So you get 3 attempts.
3 attempts. Okay.
Yeah, 3 attempts for each lift.
Okay.
Well, sometimes you don't have to squat, bench, and deadlift the entire meet. Some people only do like bench and deadlift or like squat and
whatever they want.
Yeah, whatever you want, basically. So for my last attempt for squat, I got 230. No, okay, I didn't get it. I went for 237. I didn't get it because I didn't get low enough again.
Oh.
It was also a grinder though, so I don't.
Also, you were like stuck a little bit and kept fighting.
Yeah, so I fought for the rep, and I was so happy though. Honestly, like even though I didn't get it, I was literally so happy because I got it up.
Yeah,
like
237 is good.
Yeah, I didn't even fail it. Like we went back and watched the side videos. And like I was this much. I was so mad because I was like, they could have counted it, but then again, obviously, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
But
they don't have instant replay.
Yeah, they don't have instant replay like in the NFL where they zoom in.
Or they challenge it.
Yeah. If they would have, I'm like, okay, I'll go again. But no. So I didn't get my last attempt at 237, but I was very happy with myself because I got it up. The whole point of having that first attempt be easier than your last 2 is to literally get on the board.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you want to play it safe. Do something you know you can hit for sure.
Right.
So that's why we were like 220 moved like butter during meet.
Nice.
I mean during prep. So that's why we were like, okay, that's a good one to start at. And also you have to put all of your first attempts when you go for weigh-ins, which is the day before.
Okay.
You have to write down all of your first attempts, and you can't change it basically.
Oh,
so
wow.
Yeah, so you basically what you put is what you have to go.
Okay. And if you bomb that, then it's kind of like another mental battle, right? You're almost like, damn. I don't know if I can get these next ones up, you know?
Because like some people even, like either they're not feeling it that day or they're just kind of maybe thought they could do it.
That day, did anybody bomb out?
I don't think anyone did. I don't think, not that I remember. There has been some people with that, but the thing is too, like, you can go up to the judges and after they like flag you or like whatever, you can go up to them and be like, why did I get a red flag?
Yeah.
And they'll tell you why.
Okay.
So like whenever I went up,
and you'll fix it on the next one.
Yeah, you fix it on the next one. Because like at first I was like, why did I not get my first attempt? I went to the side judge and he was like, you didn't go low enough, and I was like. So then I was like, okay, I gotta fix that.
Yeah.
So but you can communicate with them on whatever it is, and they'll tell you what you did wrong. But then for deadlift, I opened up with 254, I believe. I got that. It was easy.
That's moving.
I know.
That's
and then and then my second attempt, I got 275. It was pretty good. I'm not gonna say it was like super easy, but I'm not gonna say it was really hard either. And then my last one I went for.
Is this conventional? Like
nope, I'm doing sumo.
Oh, so you did sumo.
I did sumo and over underhand. And then my last attempt I went for 292. Damn. But honestly, I was so like not tired. I was so like drained at that point.
Yeah.
Like it was my first meet too. Like I, you know, but I mean, like obviously you eat things in the back and like drink things in the back to kind of help you stay for the whole meet. But I mean, there was definitely lessons learned. But the most that I ever pulled though, outside of like obviously not competition day, but in prep.
Before
was 290.
Damn.
And so this was kind of like that would have been a PR for me, like in meet and outside of the meet.
But you did get on the board though.
I did, with my 250 and my 275.
Hell yeah.
So I ended up. So the ones that count are obviously like the highest that you get. So technically my squat ended up being 226, my bench was 104, and then my deadlift was 275. So then when you add all those up, I totaled at like 600, I think 600 something. And this 600 pounds.
Do you know the day of what you were weighing, like 123, 125? You bulk up at night?
I ate
because you weighed the night before, right?
Yeah, it was the day before, the whole entire day before. So we weighed in Friday morning. My comp was Saturday morning. And right after I weighed in, I went to IHOP and I ate literally pancakes and all this stuff. Like literally, it was so good. Yeah. And then right after that, I went home and I ate again, and then ate again at night. But the crazy thing is, I only ate 3 meals. But they were really big meals. Yeah. Yeah, because
But that's normal. And by the way, that's normal. Like especially in combat sports, or at least in wrestling, especially with high schoolers, they'll weigh in. Let's say the day of the wrestling tournament. Yeah. Those kids will weigh in, like they'll starve like days before just to make weight. Once they make weight, literally as soon as in the morning when they weigh in, right after they weigh in, they'll go like hammer down like 2 subs and a burrito and like 3 crackers.
Or something.
Like maybe a whole pizza. You know?
Literally, that's really how it is there, and it's crazy to think that, right? Like I literally starved myself the day before, and I didn't drink a lot of water. To make weight, but then like obviously like that. Right after you weigh in though, you gotta obviously rehydrate. Yeah. I mean, I drank so much water all Friday.
Get energy back.
Get all your food back. I ate so many carbs. I loaded up on carbs Friday. Yeah. And then, but I didn't eat nothing too crazy because I also wanted my body to feel like good. Yeah. Because like I know what sits well with my body and what doesn't. Right. So like as bad as I wanted to maybe go eat a pizza or something, I was like, realistically, I think a sweet potato and some chicken will make me feel good. Yeah. So that's
it's not destroying your diet either too. You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I mean, competition day, you get first place, you pull some great numbers like 290 during prep week. That's like. Yeah. I think I max out my deadlift. Man, it's been so long. It's probably been a year since I did a deadlift. But I think conventional deadlift, I could probably pull like 325, 330. I don't know.
Conventional is quite like impressive to me because.
Well, I'm also like 70 pounds heavier than you, so so being able to pull 325 conventional for me is not exciting at all. But because you're like 70 pounds lighter than me and you're pulling that amount already, so I'm just like, damn. But I mean, so what are you pulling now? Do you mind sharing? What are you pulling? What are you weighing now? Pulling now?
Yeah, so I actually weigh 120 pounds right now. This is the lightest.
You're 120 right now?
Yeah, this is the lightest I've ever been. I'm kind of like about, but honestly, this is the strongest I've ever been and the lightest I've ever been.
Oh,
so
really?
I'm really happy
Your
about
ratio's
that.
up.
Yeah, my ratio's up. So actually, right before I came here, I was at the gym. I actually hit a new PR. I did 275 for 5 reps.
Hey, let's go. And what's that on?
Deadlift. Oh, sorry, deadlift. Yeah, deadlift.
I'll say bench press?
No, oh heck no, I wish. But yeah, so
on sumo too?
Yeah, sumo. Yeah, so
Damn.
I pull sumo.
So 275 for 5.
Yeah.
You're in upper threes now. You're or not upper.
I haven't maxed out in a while actually.
Yeah, but you probably be close to 3.
Yeah, I would definitely say I could definitely pull through over 300 pounds now. I'm waiting for that like right time too, and I go up on my coach says. So,
yeah.
I don't just go off playing whenever I want.
All right, so I wanted to, get your opinion on what first-time gym goers should be doing as they are going to the gym, and maybe talk a little bit about the dieting side of things too. What do you recommend on both sides of it?
I definitely recommend to take it slow and take it day by day, because like sometimes it can get overwhelming and it can be scary to like, whether it's your first time stepping in the gym ever or whether it's your first time in maybe a year, take it slow. There's no need in like rushing or feeling like you have to go 5 days that first week.
Right.
The biggest thing is, in order to have consistency, and that being whether it being 6 months or being 7 years, is to enjoy it. And sometimes you can get overwhelmed, and then that's whenever people are like, oh, I'm overwhelmed, or like, okay, this is too much, so I don't want to do it anymore. And you fall off that great,
trajectory you already had.
That you already had, yeah. So it kind of gets overwhelming for people, and I think that's a lot of the times, or it feels like it's too much. That's why people are like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. So that's why I always say start realistic, as in like start going 2 days a week, and then from there on, like once you start to enjoy it, move on to 3, move on to 4, move on to 5. Like it's just take it slow, because honestly your goals have no timeline, and I think that's the biggest thing. Like there's a difference between having a goal and being like, okay, I want to lose this by that, or I want to gain this by that, versus like okay, I want this like that. So I think the biggest thing from my advice would be to take it slow and day by day, because to build consistency is to enjoy the process. And to enjoy it, you got to do what you love, you got to do what you like.
Right.
Whether that's lifting weights, whether that's CrossFit, whether that's HIIT, like it's just whatever.
And talk a little bit about the dieting side of things. What kind of things do you recommend for people, as we're going into the new year and you're trying to hit your goals? What kind of dieting stuff do you recommend?
So a lot of things that I do recommend is having a colorful plate every time you eat. I know that sounds a little like weird, but it's obviously fruits, veggies, stuff like that. And then also eating more whole foods. So less of the prepackaged meals that are frozen, less of going out to eat, less of foods that are already made that you can just buy. And obviously another thing I would recommend is to literally hire somebody, whether it's a personal trainer, a registered dietitian.
Let the pros help you, right?
Yeah.
It's like what we talked about earlier, having a mentor. I think once you get for real about it, and you really want to get somewhere, hire a professional, hire a mentor to kind of
1000%. Because I mean, sometimes I'm lost myself. Like I don't know everything.
Yeah.
I mean, soon enough I'll probably hire a registered dietitian too. But definitely getting that extra step of help will help you as much as you think that it would help you. Literally, they would help you tremendously. So, I mean, obviously they know what they know for a reason. I mean, they're qualified for what they're qualified for. So, definitely getting help is a major step into reaching your goals. But as the plain as it gets, eat more fruits, eat more vegetables, eat whole foods, cook your meals. Less eating out. Drink a lot of water, plenty of water.
Yeah, stay away from all those sweets.
Yeah.
and this is nothing new. Obviously, this is a very, very generic information. The harder part is the doing, right? So make sure you are doing, not just thinking about doing. I want to also talk about motivation. I think that's a very common topic. How do you find motivation? Well, before you talk about what you use as your source of motivation, I feel like there's a saying that I've heard before, is learn to develop discipline and consistency, because on days you're not motivated, discipline and consistency will keep you on track. And for example, let's say you go to the gym 5 days a week. You know, you're highly motivated in the first weeks that you're starting to work out. However, if you never develop consistency or discipline in that time frame, and you start to drop off and you lose motivation, then I'm just gonna go 3 days now. Okay, now I'm just gonna go 2 days now. I can still fit 1 day a weekend, you know, to the gym. And so, well, if you develop discipline, you'll continue to go no matter what.
Yes.
You'll fit that lift session, that workout session, no matter what, you know.
You'll make it work.
Before you feed into that, talk about what you use as a source of motivation. I'm sure discipline ties into that as well, right?
So I feel like this is like such a basic answer, or it's like really like that's your motivation, but like thinking about like what I was or who I was before I started. So like thinking back to like how fragile I was, or like how tiny I was, like, or how much progress I've made, and like I always tell myself like, do you want to lose that progress? Or you know, look how far you've came. Like basically my motivation is speaking to myself in a way of like, how bad do you want it? Like that, every time I'm lacking motivation, I always ask myself, how bad do you want it? Like that's the number one thing that I say.
And it always helps.
And it always helps, because I'm like, okay, I want it really bad. Like, and that's the same whether I was in prep or just in general in life now. Like some days I don't even want to go to the gym, and then I ask myself, I'm like, how bad do you want to get to where you want to be more?
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, okay, you really want to get there, don't you? So get up and go. Let's go. That's what I tell myself every single time. It's always, you know, and I tell that to everyone else too, though, as like motivation. Like whether it's my clients or just friends or family, and they're like, gosh, like I just don't want to go, and I'm like, then you don't want it that bad. Then you don't. I mean, it sounds like harsh, I guess.
Well, no, I think it's the truth, because you know, you say it sounds like cliche or basic, but it really is that simple. And don't overcomplicate it. Don't make it any harder than what it is. You know, it's not difficult. If you want it bad, then you'll do it.
If you, not even just fitness related, but like school as well. Like, how bad did you want your degree? You know, or or with work, how bad did you want your job? Like, you know, it's the hunger level of how bad you want it. Like how hungry you are for your goals. And I mean, if you're really about it, I mean, you're gonna do it, and you're gonna do what it takes if you want it that bad. So
no, that's good stuff. I mean, to kind of go off a little bit off topic, you know, we've talked a lot about your lifting and the motivation, and you know, the prep and everything like that about working out and being a power lifter. Let's talk about you a little bit. What do you do on your free time? What do you enjoy doing? Are you a sneakerhead too?
I am a sneaker. Okay.
Tell us about it.
I don't know.
I know nothing about that world.
So I don't know if I can consider myself a sneakerhead, because I don't have enough money to be a full-on sneakerhead, because sneakers are expensive.
But you're in the culture.
For sure.
You know the culture. You you see a shoe, you can identify it. You know.
I'm like, ooh. Okay.
Aside from like, you know, being a little bit of a sneakerhead and, you know, a fashionista, a stylist. What other things are you interested in, like as a person? Do you paint? Do you draw?
So I really have no life. No, I'm just kidding.
Just the gym.
Just the gym. No, literally though, like I think about it, I'm like, dang, what else do I do? And I really I feel like I also don't have time. I mean, I work a full-time job. And then right after that, I go and train my clients at the gym. And then I work out, and then I go home. I go home, eat,
and then rinse and repeat. Same stuff.
Monday through Friday, weekends. I mean, like, I guess on my free time, sometimes I'll hang out with family or friends, which is kind of rare though, because I don't really go out much because of the lifestyle that I kind of live now. I don't really go out to eat.
So you really look forward to like the family gatherings?
Because I mean, that's really the only time I really see other people. Like, or I mean, obviously at the gym,
socialize the most.
I can socialize at the gym and stuff sometimes, but realistically, like, it sounds crazy. Like, wow, I need to pick up a hobby, because I'm like, I don't even do.
It's like a moment of sudden realization.
Like,
she really doesn't.
You really asked me that.
But that's okay. I mean, hell, you're happy, right?
Yeah, I'm happy, and I think that like on my free time, I mean, I'll watch movies, I'll watch Netflix, like just like the basic stuff. Because honestly, I don't find myself having enough time to be like, okay, let me go and find something else to do outside of the gym. I mean, I read from here and there. I mean, like just stuff like that. But I used to like to draw and stuff like that when I was like in my little like phase or whatever, where I was like, okay, let me just draw, stay up till like 2 in the morning and draw. But other than that, I mean,
you think you still be able to draw? Like if I tell you to draw like a, like you look at a picture of you and you draw yourself, would you be able to do that?
Okay, actually, let me rephrase that. I used to trace.
Oh my God, okay. That's not the same thing.
I used to trace pictures. I'd take my computer and be like, let me look at this is that. And then
trace on top of it.
I would trace on top of it.
You ain't draw.
I know, and then I would do like the shading, and then I would like do something that, which is like, yeah, that.
Okay, good enough.
Alright, trace. I used to trace. I didn't never drew, but
exposed.
Yeah, I got exposed.
I exposed people on this show, alright?
But yeah.
So aside from that, you know, this will really test how real you are in the lifting game.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm scared.
Not necessarily. Top 5 songs you like to work out to.
Top 5 songs I like to work out to?
Yeah, because like for me, I haven't been to the gym in so long, I have no idea what songs I would lift to.
Okay,
so
we're talking genres?
It don't matter. You know, whichever songs you feel like, oh, when this song's on, I'm pumping out the most amount of reps, I'm lifting the heaviest, the most hype song.
Yeah, okay, so right now, a song that's really been hitting for me is Lollipop by Lil Wayne.
Really? Dude, that's old school.
It's old school, but like,
but it's good, huh?
It's been kind of kicking back up on social media, and it's so weird. Like today from my PR before I hit it, I was like, which sounds, it's like, how does that even correlate with you getting hype in the gym? But it's just the beat that gets, like, I have to have like some kind of like good beat to get me going. Like, I really do. But that's usually when I'm like in a good mood and then I'm going to lift. But if I'm in like a mood where I'm like, okay, like I gotta be locked in, like I gotta focus and I gotta lift. Usually, Feel Nothing by The Plotting You is a good song too. That's probably like number 2 for like going in and really getting it.
I gotta check out these songs. Keep going.
Yeah, which they're 2 totally different like songs. And then you got, I love me some Eminem.
Okay, no, Eminem is legit.
Oh wait, what's it called? I haven't listened to it in a second, but it's like if I thought of a song that I would love to that gets me hype, it's the one with Rihanna. You have to know it.
With Eminem?
Yes.
Love the Way You Lie?
Yes, that one gets me pretty hot. And then what's his other one? Not Afraid.
That's a good one too.
That's a really good one too. I really like that one too.
But I'll be honest, it's throwing me off because I would have never guessed these answers.
I know, right? And then other than that, let's see.
I want the rest of the gym community to chime in as well and tell me what songs, like top 5. What's the top 5 songs you lift to?
Please call me.
I bet you're not alone.
Yeah.
I bet you're somebody listening to like, you know, Barbie World and jamming out and lifting some heavy weights.
It's so funny because I have a friend in the gym.
Yeah.
He seems like this like crazy like mean mugging guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, like you're about to hit the PR today. Like, what are you listening to? He's like, oh, Carly Rae Jepsen. And I'm like, what? He's like, Call Me Maybe. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, Call Me Maybe.
Or he'll listen to what's her name?
hilarious.
What's her? She's really popular right now. No, she's a rapper. Or is she a rapper?
Cardi B.
Yes, Cardi B. Yes.
Yeah.
He'll be like, oh, I'm listening to Cardi B. I'm like,
damn.
I'm over here like, all right, let me get deep, you know? Let me get like.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you this right now, and you know, for the record, so a couple years ago when I used to lift pretty regularly, 7 Rings by Ariana Grande.
Oh, okay, that.
Or damn, it's a good one by Beyonce. 7-Eleven by Beyonce.
Oh
I'll
listen to that tomorrow.
Like I have like with Ariana 7 Rings, I have a ponytail and everything. I'm turning up, man. 7 Rings. I'm twerking, dude.
Yeah.
So
that is too funny.
Those are 2 really off the wall songs, and I feel like nobody would guess.
I know, and it's so crazy because like. Just think about it though, like imagine if you're in the gym and then you like go see someone and they're like, oh, they're probably in the zone and you're like, hey, like what song are you listening to? And it's like something so weird and you're like, oh, okay.
It's actually pretty normal. That's why I want to see the rest of the community comment what other songs they be jamming to when they lift.
It's crazy how normal it is though. I mean, you would expect like, I mean, but I mainly listen to like rap though, or like hip hop music. But that's like when I'm just like working.
You know, I used to test out my mentality too. I used to listen to like really horrible songs to keep me locked in, which sounds a little bit weird, but I like to test myself like that. One song in particular, go ahead. One song in particular was Ice JJ Fish. I can't remember the name of that song, but you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Sings horribly. It's not a secret.
Yes.
He sings horribly. But I used to, like, whenever I would try to PR, I would listen to that song and see if I can focus on my lift, contracting every muscle.
Yeah.
While that's going on in my head, you know. So that was one of the things.
That is too funny.
Would you ever do any like horrible songs? Have you ever tried that?
Okay, not horrible, but like sometimes I would maybe like try to. It sounds stupid, but like maybe like a sad song or something. And I'm like, okay, like let's use all of your emotions and take it out on this weight.
I feel you.
But sometimes like I could never get like, well, not sometimes. Most of them I can never. Sometimes people are like, okay, think about something that makes you really angry, and I'm like, I can't just do that. Like I try to, but then I'm like, I can't.
Yeah, it's not really like that.
Yeah, but like some people like they can do it, but for me, I'm like, okay, I can't just make myself mad.
It's tough.
Yeah, it's tough, and number one, I'm generally like a happier person, so like I'm like, okay, I can't just be like, okay, I'm mad now.
I know,
what?
Right? Exactly. You're out of character.
Yeah, so I mean.
So my battery's flashing. We're gonna wrap it up.
Okay.
So, by the way, this is pretty much the end of the podcast. Major thanks to Melinda Lee, an inspiring powerlifter. Hopefully you're going to continue that career, right?
Yes,
and she is a certified personal trainer, probably not taking clients, right?
Online clients I am.
Online clients. She's taking online clients.
Online.
So, go check her out. I'll plug in her social media stuff all right here. So, go check her out. She's super cool, super awesome, and very strong. So, go check out her stuff. Follow all the social media with Wilson Tao Show. Stay up to date with all my new episodes. A lot of good stuff coming. So thank you guys for your time. Bye-bye. Until the next one.